Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah. She so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love. Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. This is your boy Rod One, and this is Spark-N-Conversation, and you know this is our special segment we call Convo Corner, where I like to say that on this particular segment, we like to talk to the people in the world who was not afraid to just be themselves, right? We find it so hard nowadays for people to just accept themselves for who they are. We've been told so many times, even from the beginning, you know, our lives have been in the hands of other people, older people, other adults, and all these other situations that people have been in. Very seldom did those people take the time to figure out who we were first. And then there's those of us who take that opportunity to take the things that we know God gave us and we just elaborate on them things. And not so much that we do it in a way where, you know, people are trying to be famous or anything like that. It's just that desire. It's that small voice that you hear in your head telling you that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And then you do that against all odds. Because even when I figured out that that is the real vibe, I found out that a lot of times the people that are in your life, they're there just to teach you a lesson about the gift that you have. So many people have allowed other people to keep them from going forward or moving forward in their gifts because they didn't see the vision. But the vision wasn't for them. But the test was for you. And so many people have failed the test because of people. And I just hate that so much because in that space of people really feeling like they're going to be alone, they don't understand that that's how you find your tribe. Sometimes you got to make room for the people that you're supposed to have in your life. You got too many excess baggage in your way. So before we get into too much, I know I can go too far, but we're going to bring my co-host up because she's the reason why we connect with all these people on Convo Corner. I want to make sure I always give her props, and that is Miss Gloria Peebles. What's up, Gloria?
Hey, Ron, how you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain. Thankful for you as always.
Thank you, thank you, thank
As always. So look, we got Charmin on the bill tonight. You know, I had once we connected, right, and you was like, yo, send the invite out. I went and followed and I checked her out and I was like, oh, she out here getting people booked. Okay, because most of the time when I've been noticing,
you.
when it
Yeah,
comes down to acting classes and stuff like that, it'd be more about, you know, acting classes and acting and stuff like that. Not really so much niched on, let me see if I can help you get the job, right? Because that's the worst part, not
yeah,
worst, but that's one of the things about acting I've noticed is that, yo, you're going to get a whole lot of more no's than you're going to get yeses. So are you prepared for that type of rejection, right? Who do
exactly.
we have on the platform that they was like, no, don't look at Vincent. He was like, you know, don't look at it as rejection. Just look at it what's meant for you is for you. And I love that.
That's
But
right.
unfortunately, the world ain't set up like that for us, right? It's like, yo, no, it seemed like rejection. But yeah, so what do you think about that? Do you think that a lot of times that is the main reason why people don't move forward is because they're scared of rejection?
Absolutely. But it's just if it's whatever your calling is. If you were called to do that, then it's just something that's going to push you forward to do that. And one thing I like about Charmin, who's going to be on our platform today, is this lady is a mover and a shaker.
Hmm.
She just get it on. She does what she do, and she's about business. And so I'm just happy to have her up here today because we've been trying to meet probably for about the last year or so. I guess it was just our time. So I'm excited about having her up here today and see what she's got going on.
Yeah, me too. So let's not keep her no longer. Let's go ahead and bring her on now. Hello, hello.
Hey family, how y'all doing?
Uh,
Good, we good. So thankful to have you on the platform today.
Glad to be here.
Uh, so let's do this real quick. For the people who may not know who you are, would you mind letting the world know who you are today?
Yes. So first, I'm a child of God. I'm a mother.
Hmm.
amen.
I am an acting coach. I'm a director. I'm an actor. I'm a producer, and I'm a proud fur mama.
That's great. That's look, we got to give it up for the fur babies, right?
That's it.
That's so
It's
funny.
the same. When they say emotional support, baby, that is everything. That's real.
Man, yeah, I do get that. So let's talk a little bit about because you wear a lot of many hats, but I like the lane that you're in because you like you said, you coach and you act yourself and you produce and you direct and all of that is like a full circle for a person, right? Like you have so many people who get into acting who don't produce or direct, right? And then you got those who can produce and direct but don't coach. But you seem to do all of it. So let's talk a little bit about you and your desire to do it all. Which was your first passion in that lane?
I think acting and coaching kind of went hand in hand. Definitely, it was acting first, but I started doing performing in high school on a forensics team, which is not about dead bodies in that day. That had to do with like poetry and dramatic acting and comedic acting and oratory and debate and all of that, right?
Right.
And my godmother was the coach. And in my junior year, she took ill and I had to step up and start coaching the team. So it really kind of happened simultaneously and naturally, even. I've just always had a desire to help other people win.
Right.
So it's just been the vein of my existence. Period.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like a natural progression, sort of, without you. So, but you know what I realized though, that the whole teaching part, that's a spirit thing, right? That's not a lot of people don't have the spirit of being able to teach, right? It's because, so many people think that, you know, it has to be about them. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. It's just about when you're finding yourself, right? Very seldom do you understand that part of your search for yourself is in helping other people.
Mhm.
So let's do that. Let's figure that out with you. So when did you realize that you had a spirit to be able to teach, like, or coach? Because being in high school and stuff like that, we all be trying to find our way during that time, right? Peer pressure and everything. So
Yeah, I don't, I'm so grateful for the groundedness that I was raised with and just the understanding of there's enough for everybody. And so it's never been a competitive, because I've had people ask me before, like, how you gonna teach people to do what you do when they are in your lane, or they're gonna, what's mine is mine. I heard you say that, somebody said that earlier, and that is a mentality that you do have to adopt and adapt to if you're going to do this with any level of sanity, right? But you gotta
mhm.
understand that there's enough for all of us, and the more we give, the more we get back. And I don't know, I just had a conversation with God about 30 years ago before I moved to LA. And the conversation was very simply, go do everything that you want to do, but just promise me that you'll continue to pour into people. When you learn, give it back. And that's just how I've been operating. I don't know any other way.
So,
Wow.
Shannon, since you wear so many hats, do you have one that you like the best? Like, do you like acting, coaching? Which one is your favorite?
I love this question. Do you have children, Gloria?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, more than one?
Yes.
Which one do you love the best?
You know what? That's a hard question right there, because the thing about it is, if you have more than one child, you not, you love them all, but you have, and people need to tell the truth.
You understand what I'm saying? You answered my question for me though, but that's my point. It's hard.
Yes,
They're
it's hard,
all my children.
but people need to tell the truth. You got a favorite.
Well, yeah, but
You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth.
amen.
You got a
Amen.
favorite out of them. Even though you
But
love them
love,
all.
you
You
love them
know,
all equally, but you
yes.
might love them differently. right? There may
Yeah,
be
Exactly.
you love
some
them
that you
differently.
prefer to
Yeah.
spend more time with than the others, etc.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love them all equally. I'm really finding a great joy with directing.
Right.
And I think it has to do with a few things. One, being able to oversee all of the details of the production. I like that, right? So it's never a dull moment. I'm on set for 12, 14, 16 hours. It never feels like it because everything has to come back to me as far as wardrobe, as far as set design, as far as the acting and how they're doing and their chemistry. And like, I just love all that. So, and when I'm
Mm,
acting, I do love that too, but I'm only in that space, right? So I might be on set for 12 hours as an actor and it feel like it because, I'm not as involved with everything. So I think that would be the biggest difference, you know what I'm saying, as far as
yeah.
them both. But
Right.
that directing, just, I love it. It just keeps me
See?
going.
Yeah. It kind of be like that though, right? It's like all of it is kind of like the same as some aspect of what you are trying to do, right? Because then there's times that you'll watch a person's interview and it was like, yeah, I was in the movie and I was there for 3 days, and each day I was on there for 14 hours a day. And then when the movie came out, my scene wasn't even in it. And I was just like, I and then I'll be like, but well, how was the experience? Trying to talk around it, like make them not feel
Yeah,
so
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
But I guess the end result is, well, I mean, experience with that. I want to be seen. So people want to see themselves. So that's why I say for you, it's a spiritual thing, right? Because not everybody is equipped with not being seen in
Yeah,
the realm of acting, right? Or in this whole entertainment thing. Some people rather be seen than, understanding that you might get the Emmy or whatever. They're gonna call you to the stage and everybody gonna be like, who is that?
right.
But
Real talk.
you're gonna get the award versus a person who's getting best actor or best supporting or whatever. Most people are really in this lane that I found out is really not, they're just not into not being seen.
Oh no,
So
it's a very what, remember that song, Watch Me? Yeah, it's very much that, right? And I do, let me make it clear. I do know that I'm different in that regard. My least favorite thing has always been the fame that's attached with what I do. I love my anonymity. I love to just be me and be outside and be silly. Or if I'm in the mood, if I ain't in the mood to talk to nobody, I want that to be okay. But I don't get to do that, right? So there's a thing that comes along with red carpets. I have people tell me all the time, well, next time you go on a red carpet, let me go with you. And I'd be like, why don't you go instead of me? Because I'm not, it's such a fishbowl experience. You know what I mean?
right,
And I'm not a watch me person. I don't mind celebrating what I do, but it's not from I don't want to be on all the time. You know what I'm saying? Don't.
yeah.
I just don't.
No, I relate to that wholeheartedly. That's why I said for you, we could tell if people pay attention to you, right? I guess it just depends on what capacity people are finding you in, whether they find you as an actor or the director. But if they are really paying attention to the way that you give it up, as far as your coaching as well too, because I watched some of the clips of your coaching and you really are trying to help these people get to whatever it is that they're trying to do. It's like, yo, I'm already here. So look, if you want to get to where I'm at, these are the tools you need, and here's the toolbox. Now, I'm going to tell you which one to pull out. You need a screwdriver, if you need a hammer, what you need, I'm going to tell you. But from there, you got to make sure you use the tool correctly, right?
Yeah.
So, but in that regard, that's still you being behind the scenes so much. And just like the producer, you're a producer, so those are all things that are behind the scenes. And I think that's why I said your spirit got to be something special outside of the entertainment thing, right? Because you have this natural desire, it looks like, to help people, but you are also a person that's going to say, I'm going to get it done. Like, look, don't play with me. I'm going to get it done regardless, but I'm going to help you if you want help, but I'm going to get it done. So I think that's the duality when it comes to you. Was that something that you were allowed to explore growing up, or is these things you had to pretty much learn? Because you said you had a pretty grounded structure. I'm from Jersey. Our structure was all over the place. You get what I'm saying? So, I can't really, you know what I mean, not without going too far into it. But for you, like, how was that growing up? Like, you were just allowed to just be this person, or did you discover it as you were going?
I definitely discovered it as I was going and growing. I'm the baby
Okay.
of 6, 3 girls and 3 boys, and my siblings are significantly older than me. So I was able to observe a lot of what to do and what not to do. My mother was very good about, so we grew up Catholic, but when I was like 12 or 13, I was realizing I wasn't getting anything from Saturday, Sunday church or whatever. So I asked, can I go to church with you on Saturday and go to church with my bestie at the Baptist church on Sunday? The answer was yes. Amen. And then I was like, okay, this is what, okay. So it went from there. And before that, though, when I was 8, I saw my cousins at a dance recital, and I was so just infatuated with it all. And so my mother put me in dance classes. Also, right around that same time, we were having a home party, and I heard some music and a sound that I liked, and it was a flute. And I was like, oh, I like that. So then my dad started having me play the flute. So what I appreciate about my family, my parents, is that they paid attention to the artist in me, wanting to play and explore, and they really, pushed that. Now, we did have some rules. If you start, you're going to finish. And so these were things that I started at 8 and could not finish until I graduated high school.
Yeah.
But I appreciate so that in terms of the structure was stuff like that, right? Good grades were absolutely required, but they were also rewarded, and then when my dad started putting a dollar amount to it, I was like, oh, we go get these A's, right? So the encouragement was multi-layered. The spiritual part was definitely me searching and them listening and allowing me to explore. And as I got older, then I started learning more. And I have a sister who became Jehovah's Witness. I was like, okay, well, let me learn what you're doing. Then I dated a Muslim. Let me learn what you're doing. Like we just, and until now, I have my own structure, my own relationship with God, and we do what we do.
Amen.
Nah, I like that. And I think that's the main reason why I asked that question, is because everyone that have on, I like to know, like, how they were able to come into their purpose, right? How were they able to hone in on their gifts, right? And a lot of it has to do with their parents seeing it in them, right? And very few, we have a few people on there who had to get it out the mud because of opportunities, right? It's like the small voice that they hear saying, yo, go try that. It wasn't encouraged. It was a voice that, because in so many aspects, some people have supernatural occurrences that make them understand what their purpose is. One guy I had on here, he was a minister. Well, he's a gospel singer, and he was saying that an actual physical being, the Holy Spirit, he called it the Holy Spirit, stood up in a room physically and caused him to be able to accept his new calling of one that he was not familiar with, right? It was just something that his mother told him he was going to do. He didn't do it as a thing. It was like he wanted the organ. He was a drummer. His mother was like, yo, you're going to play the organ today because your brother not here. He like, yo, I don't play the organ. He was like, nah, you're going to play the organ. So he was like, I don't know about this. And she left and came, and he said the Holy Spirit stood up in him. So I said that, and there was another person that I had on, and they were saying they were in the shower and they heard a voice as clear as it was, but no one was there. But the road to your purpose, I talk about this a lot. A lot of people, they have to learn it by being obedient, or they're going to get chastised into it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? But what I noticed is that for most people who had parents who kind of recognized the gift in them and allowed them to blossom, they kind of had a different, I want to say a different road to where they was going. It was like their purpose was so much a part of them because they were allowed to explore it.
Yeah.
They didn't have a parent that said, no, you're not playing the flute. You about to go pick up this calculator. You're going to be
right.
You being a doctor, you gonna be this. You ain't doing all that. We don't want to hear all that. Because
Mhm.
all I know growing up is that anytime I've told an adult about something that I love to do, pow, 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 shot down.
Mhm.
Right? Because they was in survival mode. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It was about these bills. It was about whatever they had going on. They couldn't see past anything
Yeah.
that they was gonna have to invest in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like to ask that question, because I'll be hoping that most parents will kind of understand that your children are a blessing in so many different ways. One of them is the fact that they have their own mission.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's not, yeah,
Mhm.
they came through you, right? But
Right.
they
Oh, yeah.
have their own mission. You have to allow them, or be a person that allow that. But did you find yourself, because I talked about this earlier, having people around you that may have caused you to not act or react to certain things in your life you felt like you were supposed to, because we all have those lessons in our lives, whether it be relationships and all that kind of you had to fight through in order to keep moving.
Give me an example. Let me make sure I understand.
Right. Say like for example, you are in a relationship, right? I don't know, husband, boyfriend, or whatever.
Mhm.
And what you're pursuing causes a certain amount of hours for you to get that done. And
Mhm.
then in that aspect, they feel like they're being neglected, right? Versus them understanding if they're a part of your journey or not, or they supposed to support your journey or not. I noticed that doesn't happen. So for you, did you have like brothers, sisters, cousins, best friends, whoever that was around you that kind of their negativity kind of turned you off or made you take a few steps back here and there?
Well, overall, in terms of dating, I will say my current significant other is very secure and he's very supportive about my hours and what I do, right? That actually um, is more exciting to him than me sending him a nude picture. And by the way, I don't send those. I'm just saying. Because that's a thing, right? These days.
I, I didn't see nothing was wrong with it. I was just like, oh, okay. So
No,
on top of this,
no,
I didn't-
that's my point, though. He would
okay.
rather have me send him a copy of a deal memo.
Ooh,
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like he's
Yes.
about that kind of support in that life. He loves me being busy and doing what I love to do, right?
that.
That's rare. So I my former husband, I think he was encouraging, but he had some insecurities, right? And you can't have those in this business with the hours that we keep, the beautiful people that we're around 24/7, the scenes that we may have to do, like all of that is like if you're not sure about who you are, then you probably don't want to date an actor, right?
Exactly.
So that, yeah, but I will say this, I get to choose who I spend time with. And I'm very, very conscious about not spending time with people who are dream stealers. So
Mm,
it's not about supporting me, especially in the way that I support you, because I'm gonna support you. Then I'm gonna give you less access. So I don't have those issues of people trying to hold me back or hold me down, whether it's family or not. If you're not, team Charmin, then I'm gonna give you some space. And it don't mean I don't love you. It just means I'm about the energy that I allow around me. It's real. That's real. Y'all know
Yeah.
it's real. So
yeah. But that's important. I think that's important for a lot of people to know, right? Because in a lot of conversations, people, it's easy for us to talk about our triumphs, so to speak. But then there's those choices that you have to make to get to your triumph. And I think a lot of people battle every day with choices.
yes, sir.
Hmm.
And
And some,
you
go
gotta
ahead.
choose. I'm just saying you gotta choose you because the number one person that will be in your way is you, not these people that's telling you don't do, can't do. You get to decide what you do or don't do. That's the biggest lesson for me. That's how I walk.
Charmin, what I
Facts.
want to ask you is how do you stay grounded in this entertainment arena? Because, with so much going on and stuff like that, it's really hard to stay grounded in this arena and not get caught up in the hype of everything because a lot of people so caught up in this arena now, and I have talked to so many people and met so many people that's so caught up, like being on the outside looking in. You like, I don't want that. I don't want to be on that same drug. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be on that same drug because I like being real
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything. But how do you stay grounded in this arena?
Balance.
Yes.
Balance is really, really important. I have a really wonderful balance of friends that are not in entertainment at all, right? Quality time with, that we don't have, you know what I mean? Nothing to do with anything entertainment. I make sure that my workout life, my workout space, my fitness space is my space. That has nothing to do with entertainment. I'm very, very aware too of obviously my spirituality daily, and just being reminded that all of this is really a facade. What I do is I work in the world of make believe, right? And so I've been in the union since '89. I've had a lot of years to understand how temporary this business is. And so I really make sure that I honor those things that are more permanent for me, like the time I get to spend with my daughter. And you mentioned something earlier too about time. I wanted to say this. These hours can affect everything, and it's a constant thing of pulling yourself back in and creating that balance. And my daughter said to me about 6 weeks ago, she's 19 and just finished her first year in college, and she said, "Mama, I feel like we're not as close as we used to be. I want us to be closer." And I'm trying to be that mom that's trying to be like, not a helicopter mom, trying to let her, gain her independence, living on her own, but I'm here if you need me. But what I heard her say was, no, I need you always. Right.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful wake-up call for me, because I realized that I'm putting in 14, 16 hours on set. How many hours am I giving my baby? And so I'm saying that to say it's a constant re-up on balance and getting it back together, or pulling yourself together. Like, it's never ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really does come back to that. And just time for me. Like, I love my me time. And my girls that I hang out with the most are not in entertainment at all.
Yes.
And that makes sense. That's the best part about it, because you're right. I think what you were saying, I think that's how a lot of them do get caught up, because everybody that they're around is in the same lane, and so now you see them kind of low key competing with each other to kind of all look like they all are in the same level. Versus it being a thing where they like, yo, because I like what you said, Charmin. Y'all operate in a world of make believe, but y'all get paid for it. Then there's those people who operate in a world of make believe, and that's just how they are. They just not them. They just walk around in a whole nother personality that is not them. And so the fact that you got people on and off camera that you could blend with is really dope. And I was going to ask about, how does that translate into being a mom with you having to do all that? But you pretty much answered that, because that was one of the things that I saw, that a lot of people in the music business and the acting world, they don't deal with it the same. Most of the people, artists, or the world that I come from, they're gone way too much, in the sense of they have to go do shows, because, very seldom people have a record deal that's geared up for them to actually make money off of the sales of their music. So in order to support their lifestyle, they got to be on the road. But then their children grow up without them. They grow up with everything but them.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So it looked like the children get all of the things that the actual artists never got, right? Because of how they grew up. The children get all the material things, but then they don't have them.
Quality time. Yeah.
And so that's where the balance. And then I notice in the acting world, because people are in between, films and stuff like that, they're giving a greater balance. Even if there are, it seemed like a movie come out on them every twice a year, that could only been 2 months out the year that they worked.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But the rest of the time, they had time to kind of build with their family, but they choose not to. So then that's why I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, hold on, you got more time, but you're just as famous as the rapper over here, but you still don't spend time with your family? That's weird,
Yeah.
right? Especially your children. So yeah, I get that. I always wondered that from the other end, how that affects people. Because I haven't talked to any children of celebrities yet.
Okay. You're welcome to talk to mine whenever you want.
Listen, look, yours is gonna pick you up. I already know. She gonna make you the best mom ever. You gotta believe that. If I have her on here, y'all, you gonna make you the best mom ever. I want to get Northwest up here. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm just playing. But no, so as far as the producer role, okay, because I know most people don't really understand the producer role, right? I had Tommy Morgan Jr. on here, and he pretty much broke it down as to how he got into producing from, doing the acting and the directing thing, and he realized that producing was his calling.
Mhm.
So, as far as you, how did you realize? What made you get into that lane and say, okay, I'm gonna produce films too?
Because I mentioned I've been doing this since '89, and there comes a time where you just kind of get tired of waiting for Hollywood to decide when you go to work. So you got to figure out how to create work. And that's actually why I moved to Atlanta from Los Angeles, was to be more in the space of being able to create work for myself and other artists.
Yeah, that's what they said, because being part of the union, I guess you can't do a lot of non-union work, right? But there's a lot of non-union work out there.
Yes,
Well, I mean,
yes and no, because Georgia is a right to work state. So the rules are a little bit different. Now, I'm in the union as an actress. I'm not in the union as a director or producer. So I can direct on union or non-union projects. So I don't have those limitations. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. But you can't. Is just the acting part you have limitations on?
If anybody from the union is listening, yes, I cannot do anything union. I would not. Tag only.
Yep.
You got that?
Exactly. That's the best answer ever. That's the best answer ever. So with that being said, because Carl was talking about that. He was talking about his move from LA, Carl Gilliard.
Okay, you know we've been friends for like 30 years.
Yeah, that's your boy. Yeah, yeah.
We had him on the platform a few weeks ago.
I didn't know that. I can go back and watch it, right?
Yeah. Okay. And I got a bunch of short clips of it on my IG page too. So if you ever wanted to go catch a couple, but no, I had him on here, and that was one of the things that he was speaking of. He was like, "Yo, my transition from LA to Atlanta," he said, "it worked out for me in this way, where in Atlanta I'm able to do the business of acting, right? Where it's helping, coaching, acting classes, being able to produce and direct, right? But at the end of the day, he was like, he had more acting opportunities in LA. But what he realized is that over in Atlanta, which he says he loves it. He said he's not going to come back. He said he was only supposed to be there for a year, and he's still there. So he said that because he realized that he said the same thing you said. He and Tommy Morgan said this too. They got tired of waiting for a job or waiting for somebody to say, "Hey, I'm gonna use you."
Yeah.
And that's when I told him the reason why I created this event called "We Don't Wait, We Create" was based on that whole premise, right? Is that you don't need to wait for people to validate you and tell you that you're good enough for something that God dropped in you. What you got to do is put in the work, and then you plant the seed, and then you watch it grow. It may not happen for you the same way it happened for, like, let's say like a Chris Cross, for example. They got discovered because of being walking in the mall. It may not happen to you, right? But then there's some people who did. They was like, yo, they had a look, and somebody saw them and said, "Hey, let's go," and they did it. But it don't happen that way for everybody. But that's the main reason why I created that event, right? So I got Vincent coming, in August to speak to the people. Vincent Ward from The Walking Dead, and a
Okay.
couple of other people, right? And I'm gonna continue this. I told Gloria this already, that my goal is to turn this into a weekend. Eventually, it'll be an award show, right? Because I want to award creators, people who do like skits and short films and all of these things. I feel like they need to get recognized too, because we just did the math and it looked like the people in short form skit world, they doing like billions of views. I mean, they doing more than like Apple and Walmart and all these other places, right? So we're noticing that we have a lot more power in our gifts than we have allowed other people to tell us whether we good or not.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Whether we said, somebody said, yo, you ain't get this role. That's why I said for you, I know it's a spiritual thing, because your niche, I'm not saying that you don't do acting coaching, but your niche is like, yo, I'm gonna help you get a book. I want you to get booked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a different.
That's why we take classes. I mean, and I just to piggyback though on what you were saying about creating for yourself. First of all, I love that title that you come up with. But the different platforms that we have, like you being able to do this now on your own. 20
Right.
years ago, we didn't have access to so many different ways to get content out.
Right.
And maybe 30 years, I might be dating myself, but whatever. I remember when it was just ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Exactly.
I remember when the CW came out. And
Facts.
we was like, oh, we got a whole other network. Ooh. Cable came out. Then it was like, oh my goodness, all these different channels.
Yes.
And I remember when cable came out, I was like, how can I be about this? Like, this is more than what I'm used to, right?
Right.
How do we do that? And then streaming happened, right? And now we're, like you said, this is the new wave right here. This is the money. So as long as we keep up with the times, we're gonna be all right. But the thing is, we got to realize, because there are some downsides to the AI and all that. I get it, I'm with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we stay with it, we get current, we figure out how to plug into these mediums like this, then we can keep creating work for ourselves.
Exactly.
And I want to say, I applaud you too for what you're doing and having this platform. That's why I was so excited to be a part of it, because
thank you.
This is what we're supposed to be doing. God
Yeah,
bless.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Raw and I, we're both in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. I was y'all was here.
No, we're in North Carolina.
Okay.
And so, Rob and I were the only two that I know of in our area that was in the same arena.
Wow.
So I got up with Raw right then one day, and I was like, Raw, you know what? We need to get together.
Combine our efforts. Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we need to get together and do something, since we're, we need to collaborate and put something together, since we're here together.
Yes.
Boom, this is what we have.
I love it.
And I equate that too to, what I'm saying, just always being open to understanding that we're not meant to be an island, right? Like that's why I use the word we a lot more than I use I. Even though I do the most, I still include a we, because there's no way that I'll be able to do as much as I do by myself. It just looks like it, right? Because I have to do the majority of it. But it's still not a solo effort. And I don't think none of us get to where we're supposed to be by ourselves. And I noticed that too, because even when you get visions and stuff and you trying to see your way through the vision, very seldom do we ask, okay, God, who's supposed to help me with this vision? There are questions that I have to ask because of the fact that I know now, like, as much as I've felt like, I can do it, and I can, but I don't, should I have to?
Right.
And so when I realized that, and then always looking at the fact that everybody has a superpower. I love when another person can bring their superpower, and it doesn't matter if I could do the same power or not. I don't have to.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. That's why the whole creative thing is just so important to me, because I just love that whole feeling of being around other people who are like-minded, who can get it, right? Who get it and who don't mind just allowing their gift to take precedent in their lives, and then being okay with that. Like being okay with the fact that, yo, all right, so maybe your gift is you behind the scenes. Maybe your gift is you're great with organization. Maybe your gift is, because I told somebody this the other day. I was like, yo, a lot of people don't think how important their toe is until they lose one.
Nope. That's so true. That's so
Right?
true. Yes.
Because I stuck my toe a bunch of times and I felt like it was over. Like the toe was gone. Right. And that walk from wherever I was going to wherever I had to go,
Yes,
I
yes,
felt it.
yes, sir. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And the toe was still there. So I can imagine for a person who is missing a toe right now, they can't tip or lean over too much.
It matters.
Right. Versus a person who may be missing a leg. Like I'm saying, I get it. Right. But it's the same thing. It doesn't matter how significant or how big it is. Yo, if you're missing something, it's going to show.
Yeah.
And so that's why I equated to that. And then, you know, another thing too about that, I was thinking about when you were saying having a spiritual connection to God, right? First and foremost, that is one of the most important journeys of our lives, right? It's trying to figure out that relationship between you and the Creator. Not you and religion, right? Not you and grandma and mom and dad, whoever before you, right? It's just you and the Creator, because at the end of the day, you know, he giving you a certain mission. So, but I think that's the most important part. And that's why I'm glad that for all three of us that we spoke on that right there, is that, you know, not being afraid to admit that, all right, y'all, so, you know, it ain't really me.
Oh, right. At all. At all.
It just looks like me.
At all.
Yeah, you see, but it ain't me.
No,
but that's the part that people need to learn when it comes down to people who are in people's lives who don't get the vision.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That they don't see God in these people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What they see is where they stand in life, where they might be left behind, where they might not be the most important. They don't see God in you. And I think that's what helps a lot of people be able to move forward, if they would recognize that the people you may have around you, it doesn't matter if they get the vision, but do they see God in you?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
What do y'all think about that?
Well, I think that's my biggest responsibility, is that in any space that I'm in, I'm allowing people to see a reflection of God. And I think that's one of the reasons I take my directing so seriously too, because I understand that role in that morning huddle when we start our safety meeting, and I'm leading the day, and I understand that the energy of the set is going to be dictated off of what I bring. Charmin ain't dope enough to bring all of that for everybody. But Charmin with God can handle all of them different personalities, all the different departments, all of the different challenges, and do it with a smile, and really be an example for what God looks like in the flesh. Now, Charmin is not perfect. Okay. She is definitely still a work in progress. But every morning before I start, I tap in. Every morning before we start and we're directing, I have been given some kind of word for today for us to focus on, whether it's kindness, whether it's faith, respect. And then, you know, and it's always God given, always. And I don't be knowing. And sometimes I'd be nervous. I'd be on my way to work and I'd be like, God, what's the word for today going to be? Yes. And he'll be like, just keep listening, whether if I'm listening to my music or if I'm listening to a sermon on the way in, but it always hits before it's time. And so I know that for me, I think part of my purpose too is to bring more God into entertainment.
Exactly.
You know, it's been so faux pas, right? Don't talk about religion. I ain't talking about religion. This ain't got nothing to do with religion, like you said. Right. This is about allowing the God in me to shine and not be shamed of the fact that I know what's leading me.
Facts. I like that. What you think, Glow? I like to hear from your perspective too, because you interview a lot of people.
Well, I'm sort of like Charmin. I always pray. Really, I pray and I ask the Lord to send the people my way. Who you want to shine the light? Who do you want, God? Send the people my way. You know, because at the end of the day, we have to depend on God in a lot of things, because, you know, because a lot of times our flesh want to get in the way, and we want to get who we want to get because they're popular
Yep.
or whatever, and we want to bring them on so people can see. But God has a way of humbling you in the area, in arena, because He has people that He want to shine His light on, and they may not be the people that we want to shine their light on, and it doesn't matter. It's okay, because it's at the end of the day, it's a God thing anyway. So whatever you want, God, you send who you want to shine your light on. Send me some divine connections. Whatever, so that we can glorify Your kingdom. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's all about Him anyway. So that's the way I started. I pray, Lord, send whoever You want. My way today.
That's a fact. And I like that. I like that because that lines up with everything. Because I always I say this every day, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we don't chase, we attract, right? I'm in the seasons of life where we don't chase, we attract everything that we're supposed to have, because you lose chasing, right? But you win attracting. And I've never ever had it any other way where it didn't work out that way. Whenever, like you said, Glo, there are people that we find that may be popular, so to speak, right? And I'm just thinking in the form of this platform, because we, the podcast is one thing, but then even when you filming and stuff like that, you be thinking like, yo, if I get this person in, the views are going to go crazy and this, that, and the third. And then you realize that there's a lot of people with a lot of views, but they can't sell one t-shirt.
That part.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then it's another person that's like, yo, I'm like, wait, hold on. They popular, but no, people just looking at them. Like, they don't have real support. People just looking at them. And so that's another level of discernment too. So you're right, Glo, allowing yourself to be a vessel, so to speak.
Yeah.
A beacon.
Yeah.
Right? I guess a beacon or a lighthouse. Let's just say a lighthouse, because the lighthouse is only seen when you get close enough to the shore, right? But it's there for you to know that the shore is there. Like, that's why I love the whole. I'm a big imagery person, right? Simile. I do all metaphors and all that other stuff. I'm big on that because it helps me. It helps me to see the bigger picture, right, as far as a perspective. And so I'm glad. That's why I asked both of y'all that question, because man. Very seldom do that come as part of a person's criticism of you or their assessment of you. They very seldom say, well, you know what? I see God in you. Right? I see how He moving in your life, because a lot of things that you are doing, I don't see how. Right? But people won't say that part. You know what they do? They give you the label of selfishness because they don't see God in you. They don't see that, you have a purpose in life. They can only see how it affects them. So that's why I say that, because let's be real. Everybody that we're going to run across in this business is going to be affected by somebody from the outside. I know there are very few people who are healed from childhood trauma. Let's just be real.
No, that's very real. Part of my coaching includes life coaching. I'm also a certified life coach. And I tell from the beginning, we're going to get into your life in order to get the best out of you as an actor, right? And there's a lot of unresolved trauma. And I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, of course, that's not the same thing, not the same role. It's more about how we use those traumas in our craft, how we now see a gift as opposed to something that hurt us is now something that can help us. Because everything that we've gone through as an artist, as an actor in particular, can be used in that art form, but it can also be used as a director. If I'm directing somebody and the scene has to do with some kind of trauma that they personally haven't gone through, but I have, that's going to give me an upper hand on how to help them pull out those emotions that we need to have for that. If I'm a visual artist and I'm painting, use my trauma, put it out there. Like comedians, most comedians are so broken. They are so broken. And they use that on stage. That's their way to deal with it and to get it out, to turn it into laughter. So trauma doesn't have to be something that we can't benefit from.
Right.
We just got to find where to put it,
Exactly. Nah. That's important. That's very important because you're right. So often we allow trauma to become our personality versus it being a a thing that we lessen or something that later on we'll get the reason why we went through that.
Yeah.
Going through it, of course not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But later on you'll really feel, oh, that's why I used to have to wash the dishes and clean up and do all that other stuff all the time. Because now I realize that I got to do all this stuff for myself. Versus vice versa, whenever you think that, you know, it's supposed to be a team effort or whatever, any of them little things that you went through. And then there are people who've gone through physical trauma, right, as younger, and they still battle with that part because they haven't really saw the reason why they had to go through that part. And then whenever that becomes a part of their personality, it also kind of makes them an actor too, right? In so many words, I tell them, I'm like, yo, you in the wrong profession because you really are wilding out right now, and it ain't you. Like I could tell this ain't you because you doing stuff just to get attention. Like who you want to see you. Because we got to figure that out. You know what I mean? And so that's why I have a certain amount of friends. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a certain amount because I'm that person. It's like, yo, you ain't the only one been through something. Don't come over here acting like you the only one that got to go through it right now. Stop playing with me. We all got stuff we went through. All right? Leave yours in your pocket if you ain't willing to deal with it. You come over here, we trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm not being a reflection of your personality because, you know what I'm saying, your father left when he was 6. All right, you a dad now.
Right. Fix it.
So what you gonna do?
Right.
What you about to do? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna be around for little man or little mama? What you gonna do? Right? Because other than that, you know, we can't use that as a cop-out. And I get it. You know, most people, you know, empathy and sympathy is two different things. I've always rather be a person that empathizes with people than to be simple. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to be reflective of just staying in that energy.
No, and sympathy is a low vibrating energy. You know what I mean? That's a woke me kind of energy. Empathy is, I get it. Now, how do we get over it?
Exactly.
My empathy anyway. Right? I feel you. Now, how do we heal?
Exactly.
You know,
but that's the whole thing, right? Part of our journey and being creative is having an outlet of being able to release those things that we have inside of us, right? For those that are journalists like you, Glo, I mean, you can write it out. For any artist, they could put it in music and acting, like you said, they could put it in the scene. And now, since we got the power of our phone, we can just do a scene. Right? You don't have to do a whole movie. You can just do a scene of what you're feeling and make that shape, right? So there's so many outlets to getting out of your pain and trauma. We just have to, I'm just thankful for people like you who help people figure that out. Because very seldom people are taught they got to hide that, because if you let people know what's really what you're really about, they use it against you. Sad thing is, that's kind of true. Right? But damn, you want to have somebody you could talk to. You don't want to hold that in, because sometimes the things you go through, once you say it out loud, it's like, okay, that was stupid. You don't realize.
Or it definitely wasn't as big as you thought. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely was. And the bigger thing too is we are so concerned about how everybody else is going to perceive it, right? And so one of my favorite quotes is this: when you're in your 20s, you really are concerned about what everybody thinks, right? When you're in your 40s, you stop caring so much about what everybody
thinks.
A whole lot. But when you're in your 60s, you realize wasn't nobody thinking about your ass in the first place.
That's a fact.
You hear me though? Like, and so I try to live in that way, even though I'm only a couple of years from being 60, but I try to live in that because nobody's thinking about you. Maybe for 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Maybe one news cycle.
Exactly.
We got our own stuff. Like, ain't nobody thinking about you. Like, that's the thing. Let it go.
Let it go. They not. And their life is, they continuously moving on with their life while you still holding on to what they did to you when you was 13. Like, look, they don't care. Like, why is you still caring about it? No, because now I cannot ever put on my shoes one at a time because I used to get in trouble. So I got to put my shoes on at the same time because, like, no, it's still your feet. At the end of the day, even then, somebody controlled, it was still your feet.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? The good thing about getting older, the older you get, the less you care.
That's
You
facts.
know what? You get to the point where you know what? You're not competing with anybody anymore.
Mm-mm.
You just don't care. You know,
No,
that's what you got. As who sing that song? Sometime I comb my hair, and sometime I don't.
I
You
don't.
know, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
India.
And
I love that song.
you know,
Yes.
you just get to the point where you just don't care. You know, you just
what
want to
people think.
live and enjoy these few days you have left on earth.
Okay.
You ain't tired. You don't want no drama.
Right.
You know, whatever, no demonic drama, no demonic drought. You
Exactly.
just trying to live your best life
Hold
in
on.
your
Right.
last days,
Yes.
and you're not competing with anybody no more.
Yes.
It's a fact. And a lot of we wasn't really competing in the beginning too. Now once you realize that, because what's for you is for you. Like it just take us a long time to get to that part.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yo, listen, that just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I get it. Sometimes it happens with food, right? You eat something and then now your stomach messed up, but you liked it.
Yeah.
Right? But it messed your stomach up. But
Yeah.
it was good, but it messed your stomach up. So you're not going to go back. Even if it was good, you're like, yeah, I'm going to lay off that because it messed my stomach up. I think that's the mentality that a lot of people, that's like the reflection. I told you I use a lot of metaphors, but that's the reflection of things, right? Even some things that are good for us are not good for us, or good to us are not good for us. So just being able to accept what's for you is for you.
Yes.
I promise it will help you with the least amount of stress in your life. If you could just get to that understanding that what's for me is for me. Well, look, we only got a few minutes, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to overgo our time, but I do want people to know. I know you have a few things coming up. I know tomorrow you're going to be in Chicago. Am I not?
No,
Is that right?
a week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, you'll be in Chicago, and then, but you're based in Atlanta.
I am based.
So let's do this. You pretty much travel to different cities to help people. Or how does that work?
But this is new. So I've been doing classes here in Atlanta, and I get a lot of feedback in my DMs and messages asking, are you going to come here? Can you come here? They want to know if I can make the class virtual. And the way this class works, virtual doesn't benefit anybody.
Gotcha.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to start going to other cities. And as you said at the beginning, it's twofold. I absolutely have to, based on my agreement with God, keep pouring into people. But because I am constantly directing, I'm always looking for new talent. So it's a win-win. They get to come and get a technique that will absolutely put them in the top 3% of their category if they use those tools, like you talked about, the screwdriver and the hammer and all of that. If you use the tools that I give you in this boot camp, you will. And it's the best thing is I get so many, and I keep getting messages from students saying, I booked this. I've been using the technique and I booked this job, or I got these 2 callbacks, and I try to post them as much as I can, but I'm glad to say they're coming in faster than I can post them.
Gotcha.
So it's a real time. The way the class works is real time. You're going to see your progress in real time within that boot camp. And then you get to go apply it immediately. And then the icing is hopefully I'll get to cast you on something that I'm doing.
Facts.
I start with my students when it comes to roles that I can bring them into. And so we're doing Chicago and Detroit next weekend. In August, we'll be doing Maryland and Miami. And Miami is going to be a special one because in August, so July, we're doing Maryland and Miami. In August, we're going to be shooting a vertical with Erica Mena. She and I are going to be producing that together. And so we're going to need talent. So when we're in Miami, it's a class / maybe casting.
Casting, maybe, yeah.
So that's what's happening with that part. And then as far as, like I said, directing the vertical, I will be directing that as well. We need talent, and that's, it just keeps going. Thank God.
Well, that's good. That's good because, with you being based in Atlanta, it seemed like, you could pretty much do everything there, have people come there. But the fact that you're traveling to other cities, that's good because that gives a whole nother energy. An atmosphere is I think that means something. I don't know. Maybe some people don't, but I do. I believe atmosphere means something. It changes, I don't know, just receptors in our bodies whenever we're in a different place. It's a different energy. I love it.
Does, but let me just say this even more, because you're right. I could stay in Atlanta. And thank you again, God. Every class that I've ever taught in Atlanta has sold out. They're here and they want it. But what I also know, though, is that there are places that don't get this opportunity to learn from me, to learn from a director who can actually put them on, right? So I feel like I grew up in Colorado, y'all. There was nothing there, right?
Right.
Especially when I was growing up. So I want to give people in different areas an opportunity to be seen by someone real who can really help them elevate. If nothing else, like you said, give you the tools to be better, but to actually possibly give you an actual opportunity to do like that. I teach and I live based on how I wanted to be treated.
Right.
So if I'd have had a Charmin Lee, look here, you better believe I'd be figuring out how to get to Detroit or Chicago or, you know, whatever the closest city is to me. I'm trying to get in front of her.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean this with all human. I mean somebody like me. I don't mean me, but I'm just saying.
No. You gotta pop your shit, yo, because there's a certain level of where people like to say people are arrogant, but then there's those that are confident. And I think when it comes down to being confident, you already gave all the praise to God. So there's no need for you not to pop your shit because we understand where it's coming from. You coming from the fact of I know that I'm doing what God told me to do. Long as I keep pouring out, He gonna make sure my cup full. That's a fact. So if people gonna come and get in front of you, it's a twofold. There's a lot of people who do acting classes and they're great at what they do. They don't have no opportunity for nobody though.
Right.
Word. But then again, like you said, yo, you come get in front of me and get the tools to go other places, and then I can use you myself to a person who if they go do their research on you, they'll know that okay, her opportunity could possibly, you know, take me to a whole nother level and other things. So you gotta I can't tell you what to do. Lord, look at me.
Oh, you can
you gotta go. I'm just saying, like, yo, pop your shit because there's a certain level of like I said, there's like confidence in that more than it is arrogance because you got the proof to show and people are letting you know that yo, I booked it based off of rocking with Charmin. You know what I'm saying? So it's all love, man. I love that energy because I'm gonna come sit with you at some point. You know what I mean? Because we doing everything I'm doing up here in North Carolina. I'm saying, and I'm pretty much the only one in this space, and it's a really big area for filming. Like they do a lot of films here. But as far as what I'm doing, it's not nobody really in that space, and so I look forward to expanding my own, you know, everything that I got going on too. So no, I'm coming to rock with you. I'm gonna come through at some point. We're gonna come to Atlanta and just, you know what I'm saying, make something shake.
And I'm happy to come there and do a workshop there where y'all are.
Yeah, I want to do. I'm already thinking way ahead. I'm like, yo, I'm putting. We don't way we create. I promise, it's gonna be that thing. All right. This is my second one. It's gonna happen in August, and we're just gonna continue to grow. And I'm definitely gonna have you come. But here's the thing that I'm doing now because I know you gotta go, but I want to do like the skits and stuff. I want to do it live. I'm talking to you now, right? I want to be able to do. I know people do sketch comedy live, but they don't do skits live.
Yes.
So I have a bunch of series that I do. Uber Lyft. I kind of put Uber and Lyft together, and it'd be wild. The people that I feel like I pick up, but I want to do it live. You know, play style, but skit style. I know ain't nobody done it yet, right? But that's something that I want to do. So I wouldn't mind, you know, trying to figure out a way to collaborate and bring that into like a real thing. You know what I'm saying? We can get a few coins too. Because I don't want people to feel like, you know, I'm trying to ask for a thing. I want to work. You know what I'm saying? I have access to venues and stuff here. So, you know, it's just a thing. I just want to do things because I feel like, you know, the soap opera is gone, but there's nothing to take its place.
Yeah. No, let's do it. Let's do it. And Gloria, you got my number. You can put us in a group chat.
Yep.
Keep the conversation going.
Yep.
All right, that. So look, this is what we're gonna do before we get out of here. Is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with at all? Encouragement.
Yes, but first of all, Let's plug into each other. So find me. Charmin Lee is my everything. Charmin, like the tissue, spelled with a C. Noel, Noel, because my birthday's on Christmas. And Lee, last name Lee. And no, Bruce Lee is not a family.
He ain't a relative,
But whatever helps you remember. Definitely just stay encouraged and remembering that what's for you is for you, and that there is no lack. We do not serve a God that has lack. We're never going to run out of opportunities, ever, ever, ever. It may seem like it, especially actors. We audition, we don't book. Maybe we don't even get auditions. You might not even have an agent. It's okay. It's okay. Just trust the process.
Exactly.
Say that. Just trust the process. And then the other thing is, if you know people in these areas where I'm going to be teaching, encourage them to come out. Especially, we all know people that, like you just said, somebody you was like, oh, you need to be an actor, right? There are those people, because it's every level. I'm able to meet every actor on the level wherever they are. We've got Emery, Lawrence, and don't let me mess up, the Masters in the Detroit area, which I need to send you an updated flyer for that too, Gloria.
Okay.
I had asked them to just help me promote the class, right? And they was like, yeah, but like, can we take it too? Can we come? And I'm like, absolutely. And you guys have resumes, and I just asked because they're in the Detroit area and I'm new to that area, but they're like, no, I'm trying to be down. So it's everybody, brand new, and people with a resume that will absolutely benefit from coming through.
Facts. So look, all of y'all that's watching, all of y'all that will watch, y'all know the vibes, man. If that's something that y'all feeling and it's something that has been pulling at your heartstrings for a long time, and you just need the necessary tools to get that extra built of confidence that you can to stand in front of these cameras and self-tape, because now a lot of things are self-tape, y'all. I know the days of to auditions in person is very rare. So this is a great way for you guys to get an audition in person by taking her class as well. But outside of that, the world of taped auditions, y'all gotta get the tools. It's so much different being in front of a camera than being in front of a person. I promise y'all, it's different. It's not the same. You gotta pull from the same type of energy as if you're in front of people, and that you're just sitting there looking like you're talking to yourself. So I promise y'all, mentally it's different. So be prepared to learn, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I think there's no such thing as a dumb question. It's just sometimes you might get the answer to the question that you ask, and it might come off dumb because what you ask. Just you can't. Yeah. But other than that, y'all know the vibe, man. Y'all know how we do. Convo Corner is here, so y'all will catch y'all on the next one. And until then, remember, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So Charmin, don't leave yet. After my outro, we're gonna talk a little bit behind scenes. But the rest of y'all stay fly out there, and I'll see y'all on the next one. All right, peace.
Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me A.